Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Wrestling Rant with jago107. And I am your host, jago107. As promised, in the episode about Monday Night Raw from April 1st, it is time to do my predictions for WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. So let's get into that, shall we? Okay, so I have here the official WWE website. We're just going to use this as visual aid so that I can show you these things and just kind of have something to look at while we talk about them. And just for clarification, all of these graphics belong to the WWE or whoever made them. I'm not trying to steal them or claim that I own any copyright over them. So do not try to copyright strike me. I don't make any money off of this channel anyways, so. Anyways. But, so, the predictions. So, we could start with really the only match that matters, but we're not going to do that. We will get to that eventually, however. There's, of course, the big tag team match that plays into the big main event. We'll have to get to that one at some point, too. Women's World Title match. We'll get to that later. The Men's World Title match. We'll get to that one later. Let's go ahead and start with this one, since I don't think it really matters all that much. I don't think there's really all that many people that care about this storyline or feud, whatever you want to call it. Well, it's both, but whatever. Fact of the matter is, you've basically got two heels, even though Bayley is supposed to be a face, but the thing is, I don't really see it that way. Let me explain my own viewpoint on this. Bayley was tired of getting her ass beat as a heel, and I think she sustained an injury, and while she was recovering from that injury, she took a trip down to NXT. And she probably came across Io Shirai, as she was known back then, and Dakota Kai. And she was thinking, I can use these two as flunkies to do my bidding and help me, and we can be this unstoppable force. So she brings the two of them up to the main roster when she's all healed up. And she brings them up to the main roster. And she's like, I'm the leader of this faction. We're unstoppable, blah, 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 blah. And it just went on and on like that for a while. Up until Io Sky, as she had been renamed, decided that she wanted some shine put on her because she's probably, actually definitely, the best wrestler out of the original three, because I don't really see much of shit in Dakota Sky, and Bailey has always been kind of meh for me too. So, but Io Sky or Io Shirai, whatever name you want to call her, she's good. But anyways, she wanted some shine. She ended up earning a shot at the former champion, who was Bianca Belair, who was like basically seen as like unstoppable because she had just blown through every other woman on the roster, at least on SmackDown. And then Io gets a shot, and that happened at, was one of the pay-per-views, or excuse me, the premium live events, because we can't just call it a pay-per-view anymore. Anyways, it was the one that happened in Saudi Arabia. What the hell are those called? Blood Money? No. I honestly can't think of it. It doesn't really matter. That was the pay-per-view where it happened. And Io Sky ends up getting the win after the re-debut or return. I'll call it a re-debut because she had left the company and come back. But it was the re-debut of Kairi Sane, who she was in the WWE for a while, spent some time in NXT, and then moved up to the main roster where she did a bunch of stuff, but she didn't really like get to be a big star. And then she left. I think that was probably either before or just after the beginning of the pandemic. I think she wanted to go home to be with her family or something. But anyways, after a couple of years of that, she decided she wanted to come back to WWE. And like I said, she returns at this pay-per-view where she helps Io Sky beat Bianca Belair and become the new, I think it was still the SmackDown Women's Championship at that time. Not exactly sure. But yeah, so now Io's the champion, and she has her friend Kairi Sane with her, who gets allowed to be in Damage Control. And then somehow Asuka gets pulled into the mix. She's friends with Kairi and Io, I guess, maybe. I don't know. It's really weird how they did this, but anyways, Asuka joins into Damage Control as well, and then her and Kairi end up winning the women's tag team titles. It's, yeah. I was supposed to be talking about how Bailey is really the heel in all of this. Well, she was, up until like Kairi and Asuka joined the group. I don't know. But to me, it just felt like she brings up Io and Dakota Kai from NXT. And she's manipulating them. She's like gaslighting them into trying to prop her up and make her the star. But then they're like, hey, what are you doing? Like, we're supposed to be a group. We're supposed to be like equals or something. Anyways, I don't know. Let's just jump ahead to the prediction. Short version is, I don't really care. Because again, this storyline is worthless. Most of the crowd doesn't care about. I mean, again, in my, back to the video that I made for Raw just the other night. Watching Raw and seeing Damage Control come out on a show that they're not even on, and the crowd was dead silent for them. No reaction whatsoever. No cheers, no boos even. It was really pathetic. People just don't seem to care about this storyline. They don't care about Damage Control. They just don't seem to care. And I don't know why they had to have them on Raw. It's because they know that SmackDown isn't doing so great these days. Because Roman being champion is basically killing that entire brand and that show. But if I had to pick a winner between these two, I would probably say Bayley, just so a babyface can win. But anyways, we'll move on from that one. Scrolling down here, here's another one. Another one that's on SmackDown exclusively. I'm not going to go over too much backstory with this one because I don't really know and I don't really care. But you have the total bitch champion, United States champion, Logan Paul. And he is defending against Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. I'll be honest, I would really like Kevin Owens to win. But I don't know if that one's happening. They'll either keep it on Logan Paul because you have two baby faces versus a heel. Paul's the only heel in this match. And so I almost know that Owens and Orton are going to end up fighting each other at some point trying to get the win. And they're just going to turn on each other. And then that's probably going to allow Logan to get the win. But yeah, my prediction is that Logan Paul will retain. But what I'm really hopeful for is that Kevin Owens will win and we'll have a new champion, and then maybe Logan Paul can fuck off and not come back anymore. That would be great. Sami Zayn versus Gunther for the Intercontinental title. A lot of people are thinking that since Gunther has had the Intercontinental title for so long, it's finally time for him to drop the belt to somebody else so somebody else can carry it for a while. And because Gunther is probably going to be moved up to the main event to challenge for the World Heavyweight title or maybe the Undisputed title, I don't know. Since he's on Raw, it would probably be the World title. But I just don't know. I don't think Sami's going to be the guy to beat Gunther. Number one, I don't think Sammy should have won that gauntlet match to become number one contender in the first place. It should have been Chad Gable. They already had a story, and they should have just let Chad have his story, and then Gable could have been the one to take the belt off of Gunther. But they didn't decide to do that. But yeah. Would I like to see Sammy win and take the belt off of Gunther? I don't really like Gunther, so as long as he loses, that'll be nice. But do I really think he's going to lose? Not really. So there's my predictions for that one. Moving on, we have the Brothers Oos, Jimmy versus Jay. And there's no special stipulations in this match, even though I would think this would probably be the perfect opportunity to have something like that. But I guess not. It's just going to be a regular, straight-up match. I have a feeling that this could be almost feel like it could be like a squash match almost. And just have Jay absolutely destroy Jimmy. Because Jimmy is the little bitch who stayed with Roman after they were both, like, turning on Roman. Like, going back in that whole bloodline storyline. Jimmy and Jay were both, like, turning on Roman. It was more Jay, yeah, but Jimmy didn't want to be there anymore either. But then as soon as Jay had his fight with Roman and lost, and then after he quit from, like, SmackDown, Jimmy just kind of went right back to being Roman's little bitch. And I don't think Roman's even forgiven him because he barely even looks at Jimmy anymore. But yeah, it's like, I don't know what he was thinking going back to be with Roman. He doesn't even seem like he's wanted there anymore. But yeah, so Jimmy has remained a little bitch. Jay has grown up, gone off on his own, had new experiences and all this other stuff, and hopefully he's learned from it. So hopefully he'll just absolutely dominate Jimmy and show him, like, yeah, that's what happens when you don't live in Roman's shadow. So yeah, I'm going to predict Jay to win. Although there's obviously the room for shenanigans with the bloodline. Solo Sikoa could interfere. Probably will interfere. But I don't know. Also don't really care. Moving on to this match here. The match that makes absolutely zero sense. You have LA Knight and AJ Styles. Two guys who should have been baby faces. Well, LA Knight is, but AJ Styles, you know, he gets taken out by the bloodline, injured. Several months pass, and then he comes back, and he wants to get his payback on the bloodline. And he was kind of teaming up with Randy Orton and LA Knight. But AJ was very reluctant to help LA Knight. Like, he didn't really attack Randy Orton at all, But for whatever reason, he just didn't like LA Knight and he just kept attacking him. And it's like, what the hell are you doing, AJ? What's the deal here? I was almost hoping for a moment in this storyline where LA Knight would just come out and be like, what the hell's going on, AJ? Why do you keep attacking me? Like, I haven't done anything to you. I wasn't the one who injured you and put you on a shelf for 9 months or whatever it was. It was the bloodline. Why aren't you mad at them? You know? And it also would have been nice to have had a moment with Knight where he comes out and he's like, I actually really respect you, AJ. You can bring up their both of their past history working in TNA. You don't have to necessarily say the name of the company, but you can say, yeah, we both worked over there. We held their world title. We weren't in the company at the same time, but we kind of had similar career, not similar career arcs, but we had similar beats, I guess. But like everybody thinks LA Knight is this disrespectful little shit who like has no respect for anybody, and then he could come out and be like, I actually respect you, AJ. Like, I have respect for people who have talent, who have charisma, who can do this, and you're one of the best to ever do it. So I respect you on that level, but what I just don't understand is why you keep attacking me. I've done nothing to you. But then they had this weird it was on SmackDown, of course, because this is another SmackDown storyline. They had this weird segment where LA Knight shows up at AJ's house down in Georgia. And they get into a brawl with each other right on AJ's front lawn. And the cops get called. And it's a nice little segment, or it's a nice little camera work where they actually use like body cam footage from the cops as they show up on the scene. These guys are rolling around in the grass, beating the crap out of each other, throwing their fake ass worked punches. And the cops come and break them up. And Knight had a couple of really good lines in that segment. So if you haven't seen it, go ahead and go watch that. You can find it on the WWE's YouTube channel. But yeah, as far as who's going to win this match, once again, I don't think it really matters. There's nothing really at stake. This is basically just a grudge match. And I don't even understand the point behind the match. Like, why are they even fighting? So again, what does it matter? Who cares who wins? It should be a good match regardless. It'll be fun to watch. But AJ is real pissed off for whatever reason. And when AJ gets pissed off, he just might be doing his best work. So, as much as I like LA Knight, I think AJ's going to win this one. There's a small picture here, and I think there's a better one. Let's just see about this. Well, we'll talk about this one real quick. And here's another throwaway match that means absolutely nothing. You have a 6-man tag match. The Pride, which in case you don't know who that is, it's Bobby Lashley and the 2 members of the Street Profits, who aren't important enough for me to know their names. moving on. And they are going to go against the Final Testament, which is Karrion Kross, who I've been dying to see them do something interesting with Karrion Kross for way too damn long. But they team him up with the returning Authors of Pain, who they were in NXT for a while. They dominated the tag division in NXT for a while. And then they come up to the main roster. They lost their manager for whatever reason. And they probably didn't last all that long after that until they got fired from the company. And they were out floating around on the independent scene for a while until, I guess, Triple H finally decided to give them the call back and say, hey, come on back now. And he brings them back, and guess what? Now they have their manager again, who was Paul Ellering, who's the same guy who used to manage the Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal, way back in the day. So the Final Testament has two managers, both Paul Ellering and, of course, Kross has Scarlett. So the two of them are both going to be floating around. Once again, this match is absolutely meaningless. I have no idea why it's even on the card. This is something that should have been on like a pre-show or should have been like on the SmackDown before the show. I'm just going to say this. I really hate the fact that WrestleMania has to be 2 damn days. It's stupid. Most of these matches are not worthy of being on any pay-per-view at all, let alone the biggest one of the year, WrestleMania. The only reason these matches are on the card is to give these people paydays. And that's it. The matches have no real significance. There's nothing on the line, no stakes. So what's the point? Other than just giving these people paydays. And WrestleMania paydays, no less. I would like to see the Final Testament get the win just because, again, I like Karrion Kross and I want to see him go over and get built up. Jesus Christ, they need to build him up towards the main event because they had teased something between him and Roman ages ago and they never went anywhere with it. And I understand they're both heels, so a heel-heel match isn't really going to work all that well. Why you can't turn Kross face? Why you can't turn Kross face, though, I don't know. Instead, we stick them in a group with a couple of losers, which, okay, yeah, they were dominant in NXT, and yeah, they're big dudes, but, like, no one cares. I haven't seen the story. I haven't seen the build for this match. And this stupid Pride group, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. Bobby Lashley had a perfectly good group. What the hell was it called? It was him, MVP, Cedric Alexander, and Shelton Benjamin. And a lot of people really liked that group. And then for whatever reason, Bobby left the group, basically because I think Vince McMahon was still running the company at the time, running the show, and he just decided, fuck this group, break them up, get rid of them. Shelton Benjamin, I think, has left the company. Cedric Alexander is still around doing random jobs to random people on random shows because he's never going to be a big star on his own. So I guess they just decided to put Bobby with the Street Profits because they're like, well, a lot of people like the Street Profits. Maybe if we put them with Bobby, it'll work better than that other group. MVP is still slumming it, hanging out with Omos, and we hardly ever see them, which is good because Omos sucks. He's too big and klutzy to be a good wrestler. It's just not going to work with that guy. And the crowd don't care about him anyways. But anyways, my prediction is hopefully it'll be Cross and his group. Moving on. Okay, here's one that's going to be... Oh, Jesus Christ. This stupid little blood-sucking leech. Dominic Mysterio teams up with Santos Escobar to go against his daddy Ray and his partner Dragon Lee, who's being dragged all the way up from NXT to be in this match, because Dragon Lee, to my knowledge, has not actually been drafted to one of the main shows yet. I think he's made like sporadic appearances on SmackDown here and there, maybe just kind of coming to the aid of Ray. And this also has to do with this feud going on between the LWO, which is led by Ray, going against Legado del Fantasma, which is led by Santos. Which, here's a funny story about that. The original Legado del Fantasma was Santos and... Crap, now I can't remember their names. Joaquin something. Anyways. Joaquin Wilde. That was his name. And then the other guy... I can't remember the other guy's name. But they were all down in NXT together. And then they get brought up to the main roster. And then Santos has like a thing with Ray, and they have this like mutual showing of respect, giving each other one of their own masks, which is a big thing in like lucha libre culture. Just this big sign of respect. And shortly after that, Ray decides to bring back the LWO, which was a group from WCW. It was their Latin version of the NWO. So it was the Latin World Order. And so basically Ray conscribed Santos and his Legado del Fantasma to be the new members of the LWO. And then, at some point, Santos decided he didn't want to be in the group no more. He was tired of Ray. So he turns heel, breaks off from the group, and forms a new Legado del Fantasma with Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo, who weren't really doing anything on... let's see. Before Santos came along, they were the team known as Los Lotharios, and they were just really bad ladies' men. They were trying to get chicks, and they weren't very successful at it. I guess they've gotten more serious now that they've hooked up with Santos, but it's like... Your old Legado del Fantasma dudes are still with Ray in the LWO. And he's also got Zelina Vega, who was like the manager for those guys. And then they also got the returning Carlito, who's been involved in this for a little while now. Really, really, yeah. And Dominic keeps sticking his stupid ass bitch face in where it's not wanted. Dominic is just a freaking leech. He sucks. He's not a very good wrestler. He's terrible on the mic. He's so bad that the crowd doesn't even want to hear him talk. So they boo his ass just so he'll shut up. And Dragon Lee, let's see again. Dragon Lee was on NXT. Somehow Dominic had gotten a hold of the NXT North American Championship. I don't remember who he won it off of, but it was a big screw job, basically. He stole it with the help of the Judgment Day, basically. They interfered in the match and clocked the champion and allowed Dominic to get the win, because he ain't getting the win on his own. Yeah. And then Dragon Lee stepped up to try and take the title back to NXT because Dominic was showing up with it on Raw, defending it on Raw. Like, put that Bush League piece of crap back on NXT. It shouldn't be in Raw or SmackDown. NXT is a developmental brand, and they really shouldn't even be bothering to mention any of the stuff on it. Because once you come up to the main roster, it don't matter anymore. Anyways, who's going to win the match? I'll just predict Ray and Dragon Lee. And then we can move along to... We've got a 6-woman tag match. I think I mentioned this on the Raw video. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill came to the rescue of Bayley. I think it was Bayley, or maybe it might have been Naomi was there as well. I don't really remember. But these three have kind of sided with Bayley to take on Damage Control. And so that's going to happen. So we have, once again, another worthless, useless, no stakes involved. The women's tag team titles aren't on the line. I don't know why these two aren't just defending the tag titles against, say, these two, because we need to keep Jade Cargill the fuck off of TV. She has no talent yet, and she really needs to be in NXT being trained instead of being thrusted onto the main roster and right into WrestleMania. This woman hasn't even wrestled a match yet in the WWE. Not in NXT, not on either of the main roster shows. She hasn't wrestled a single match in the company yet. And they're throwing her in a match on WrestleMania. Like, seriously, I don't get what you see in this chick. Who's gonna win? Again, the short answer is I don't care. Because, again, this is all part of the whole damage control storyline that nobody really seems to care about. So, there's no stakes on the line, no titles on the line. It's really a throwaway nothing match. So, give it to the faces. Why not? I don't really care. Okay, here's the bigger graphic for this, so we can actually see who the hell all is in this match. We have a 6-team ladder match for the undisputed WWE Tag Team titles. We have the champions, the New Day, Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and they will defend against DIY, which is Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. I think they're still using this god-awful name, but I believe they're called... No. I don't even know what they're called. But you have Pete Dunne, and I believe that's Tyler Bate, who I believe both of those two were in NXT UK before it went defunct. But they're big UK, like British strong style, whatever kind of wrestlers. And they've formed a team since Pete Dunne's team with... What the hell was his name? He was going by the name Butch, and now he dropped it to re-become Pete Dunne. But he was teaming with a guy... I don't even remember. And they also had Sheamus with them, and they were like this... I don't know. European drunken lout brutes, you know, whatever the hell. Either way. But you have this team here. You also have the team of Austin Theory, who has dropped like the Titanic. I think it was last year where he was U.S. champion at WrestleMania, and he managed to beat John Cena after a nut shot, because that's the only way he's going to beat John Cena. Not that I like John Cena by any imagination, but Austin Theory's a joke at this point in his career. And he's teaming with the only guy who's a bigger joke than he is, and that's Grayson Waller, who's another one of these Australian motherfuckers who just won't go away. But yeah, you have those two jackasses. You have the Awesome Truth, which is the Miz and R-Truth. And then you also have what's left of the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, until we find out if Big E is ever going to come back. But yeah, those are your 6 teams. And boy, it's going to be fun to try and pick a winner here. DIY is not very well over. They're good wrestlers, but their characters just ain't over with the crowd, even though they're faces. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like giving the titles to the New Day would be just kind of old and stale, because those guys have held the tag titles, maybe not the undisputed tag titles, but they've probably held the Raw belts and the SmackDown belts at various times in their careers. The New Day has been around for like a decade. The gimmick's old, and it's time for it to die already. And neither one of these guys are ever really going to be big stars. It doesn't matter that Kofi already had the World Heavyweight title for one time. His whole title reign was a joke anyways. He never should have had it in the first place because he didn't deserve it. No matter what people think, he's not that good. Nobody likes Theory or Grayson Waller. These two just aren't well known enough, so probably not. Awesome Truth. This is a joke team that only got reformed because Miz was coming to the aid of Truth, while Truth was having his ass beat by the Judgment Day because Truth, with whatever the hell wires he has crossed in his brain, for whatever reason, he thought he was a member of the Judgment Day. And they had to keep telling him, yeah, we never made you a member of this group, so I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Damian Priest kind of found him funny, but it's like, okay, haha, the joke's over. It's time to piss off now, dude. But yeah, so Miz came to Truth's aid, because Miz was kind of feuding with the Judgment Day for a while, too. Yeah. But again, they're too much of a joke. I would really like to see the Judgment Day lose, just because I want to see the entire group fall apart. And if they lose the tag team titles, and we're going to get to this probably in a minute here, but there's going to be the women's world heavyweight title match between Becky and Rhea Ripley. If Rhea loses that one and loses the women's title, then they don't got any more titles. But that'll also be another possibility that I'll have to talk about here in a few minutes, which we'll get to. I don't want to spoil it just yet. But if Judgment Day lose all their freaking titles, they might just, like, all turn on each other and break up. And that would be great to see, because I have never liked this group at all. Damian Priest by himself could have been good. His NXT character was actually way better than he's been on the main roster. Finn Balor has been all over the damn place. But ever since he was the inaugural Universal Champion and got himself injured in the process, well, I can't really say injured himself. He was injured by Seth Rollins, but he was injured in the process of winning the Universal title. He goes away for a while with the injury. The title moves on, and when he comes back, I don't think he ever really got another shot at the title to win back the title he never lost. And if he did get it, I think he had a match against Brock Lesnar where Lesnar basically stomped the piss out of him, and that was the whole match. And then after that, I think Finn went back down to NXT, where he did a whole lot of nothing there. And then he comes back up to the main roster again, and it's like, what are you doing, bro? And also, I hate to tell you this, Finn, but you're way too damn short and scrawny to be taken seriously as a main eventer. You might be able to be NXT champion, North American champion, and you might be good enough to be like Intercontinental or United States champion on the main roster, you're not winning any of the big main titles ever again. I just don't see that happening for him. But anyways, let's just do a prediction for this tag match and move on, shall we? Again, with the people that we have in this match, or the teams that we have in this match, the only one that's really over enough or well known enough to make good champions would be the New Day. And I just don't know if I see that happening. You could maybe stick them on DIY, but I don't know if that's going to happen. One interesting possibility would be to, and they really should have done this a lot sooner, they need to split up the damn tag team titles. Because you have both the Raw belts and the SmackDown belts on the same guys. There hasn't been tag team champions on SmackDown in months. Not that there's really all that many good teams on SmackDown, but maybe that's one of the reasons why SmackDown hasn't been able to sell out an arena in months as well. You got no tag team titles to fight over. Your women's division is in shambles, and Roman Reigns hardly ever wants to show up to be the champion and defend his title. So yeah, an interesting idea for this match would be to find a way to just split up the tag titles. Maybe let the Judgment Day keep the Raw belts and have somebody take the SmackDown belts. I don't know. But split the damn belts up and let one set go on Raw and the other set go back to SmackDown. And move on with this crap already. They never should have. They never really did unify them. And I hope that they don't. Because again, you need to have tag belts on both shows. And I think that's really it for the smaller matches. Oh, well, I suppose maybe not. Well, I don't know. Let's just go ahead and use these two pictures because they're bigger and you can see a little bit more detail. So, tell you what, we'll start with the women's title match. You have Rhea Ripley defending against Becky Lynch. Becky won, I believe it was the Elimination Chamber match, in order to earn her way into this, because Becky wanted to win the Royal Rumble, but that ended up getting won by Bayley, and that's why Bayley's going against Io Sky. But anyways, so Becky wants some of Rhea. And I am really hoping that Becky wins, because once again, anything to fuck over the Judgment Day, because that group just sucks shit from a straw. And that's my prediction, by the way. My prediction is that Becky will win with the help of Liv Morgan, who has also been involved in this storyline. Liv was in the Elimination Chamber match, and I believe she was the last one that was pinned by Becky in order for Becky to win the Elimination Chamber. And Liv was kind of pissed off at Becky for this. The two of them ended up having a match, I think on Raw, at some point, where Becky won again. And backstage, Becky went up and offered a handshake to Liv, and I think Liv actually took it in like a show of respect, which is good. And hopefully, it probably would not have been something that would have been shown on camera, but hopefully like the headcanon, so to speak, of this would be Becky probably went up to Liv and said, hey, I know you want revenge on Rhea because Liv and Rhea have history. But Becky says to Liv, I know you want revenge on Rhea. And I know I kind of took that from you. But there's more ways than just one of getting your revenge on somebody. You know, you want to make sure that Rhea loses everything. You can help me take the women's world title from her, which is basically like her whole world anyways. So hopefully we'll see Liv come out and screw over Rhea to help Becky win the title. And then Judgment Day will be down another title. That'll be my prediction, though. Jesus Christ, did they ever stop there? Nope, it's still going. Okay, no, it's not still going. Let's just go back. And that brings us to this match. You have your World Heavyweight Champion, Seth Rollins, versus Drew McIntyre. Now, this is going to be like the third or fourth or fifth or sixth or 80th goddamn time these two have fought each other on pay-per-view for the world title in like the past 6 months. And Seth has won every damn time. And they have even brought this up. And supposedly it's because Drew has been being the nice guy and he's trying to be honorable and fair, but he's still pissing and moaning like a little bitch. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I really hate Drew's character as of late. He's pissing and moaning like a little bitch, crying about this and that and the other thing. But anyways, as far as the match and the prediction, Rollins has also gotten himself involved with the whole bloodline storyline with Cody, so that's probably going to play a factor in it. I don't know if the bloodline is going to interfere in the match. Don't know. Probably they'll be too busy waiting on the Roman and Cody match to really care about Seth. But I think that Drew, with his new, like, win at any cost attitude that he has had as of late, I think Drew is actually going to steal a win, basically. He'll cheat. He'll punch Seth in the nuts. I don't know. He'll do whatever he has to do behind the referee's back to get the win. That's my prediction. Drew's going to win. However, this is where we throw a monkey wrench in the plans. You see, it would be just absolutely poetic justice for Drew to win, cheating his ass off, only for him to get clobbered from behind by Damian Priest with his Money in the Bank briefcase, who would then cash in said contract for a match right then and there, clobbered Drew a few more times, and then Priest either hits Drew with his South of Heaven chokeslam, or maybe he'll hit the Razor's Edge. I don't know. That guy needs a better finisher regardless. But Priest will beat down Drew, hit him with a finisher, and get the win. And then Priest will be the new World Heavyweight Champion. And this is another thing. This is what I alluded to earlier about the whole Judgment Day thing. If they lose the tag belts, and if Rhea loses the women's world belt, then, and Priest is the only one who walks out as a champion, this could cause enough dissension in the group for the entire group to just shatter and explode all over the place. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they would still stay together. Maybe they would rally together or something. Or maybe they won't even lose the other belts. And we'll just have another monster. You know, Rollins has talked about we need to beat the bloodline. We need to, they have all this power and everything because of Roman, although Roman's the only one in the group that has any titles. And it just brings up another stupid thing in the storyline. Like, why does having the titles give you any power? You know, if you become enough of a pain in the ass, the people who are actually in power, the people who are actually in charge, they could just fire your stupid ass. Vacate the damn title and have a tournament to crown a new champion. Why do you think having a title gives you any power? It doesn't, so shut the fuck up. Stop booking your champions like this. It makes them look stupid. Not to mention, there's supposed to be rules that are supposed to be enforced on these champions. You're supposed to defend your title once every 30 days. You know, things like that. And they just don't bother. Because that old traditional rule book got thrown out the damn window a long time ago. But yeah, Rollins has been bringing up, like, we have to take down this monster, the bloodline. We have to take down Roman. But what's going to happen when the Judgment Day walks out with all these titles? If they keep the tag belts, if Rhea can somehow manage to keep the women's world heavyweight title, and if Priest can end up cashing in on either Seth or Drew and become the new world heavyweight champion, then they're going to have 3 different titles. And if they can just find a way to get either Dominic or JD McDumbass, get him a title, then they'll have even more power, quote unquote, whatever the fuck. But yeah, that actually is my prediction, is that Drew wins the match only to get clobbered by Priest, who then cashes in, and then he becomes champion. And again, it'll just be poetic justice for Drew, who has this personality shift, or whatever you want to call it. He goes from trying to be this honorable warrior to being this win at all costs cringy, bitching, pissing, and moaning type, and he finally wins the damn title, only to have it ripped away by Priest cashing in the Money in the Bank. I just think that's would just be so poetically fitting. Trying to see if there are any other matches that we haven't taken a look at yet. I don't think so. I mean, other than the two. Well, here's this one. The matches that actually matter on this damn card. You have The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. And the match is just a regular tag team match. However, the stipulation is if Cody and Seth win the match, then Cody's match against Roman on night 2 of WrestleMania, it will just be a straight up fair one-on-one match. And I think the bloodline is supposed to be barred from ringside if that happens. However, if Rock and Roman win, then Cody and Roman's match will be contested under bloodline rules, which means anything goes. Interference is okay. There's no disqualification, probably no countouts. It'll basically be a street fight. Weapons all over the place. Interference out the ass. And Roman and Rock think that with those rules, well, they can just beat down Cody. And even if Seth interferes, it'll be 4-on-2. But then there's also Jey Uso who might interfere, which it would still be 4-on-3. But I'll save the rest of that for my prediction for the main match. Because here's my prediction. It's not going to set the world on fire because apparently other people have already said this. The way this is probably going to go is Roman and Rock are going to win the tag match, setting up the bloodline rules for Cody and Roman's title match. There's more drama to it that way. There'll be more action because, weapons will be allowed and interference, and all these people are going to get in. They're going to get involved. Seth will probably get involved, and Jey Uso will probably get involved, and of course Jimmy and Solo Sikoa, Roman and Rock. But yeah, that's going to be my prediction for the tag match, is that Roman and Rock are probably going to win. I just can't imagine them going with Cody and Seth winning, because then Cody and Roman, the only way they could possibly make the match interesting at that point between Cody and Roman would be they would use the verbiage of the bloodline is banned from ringside. And they would use that to say, okay, well, it's the bloodline. The only members of the bloodline right now are Rock and Roman and Jimmy and Solo Sikoa. Well, Roman's in the match, so you can't ban him from the ringside. So it's just Rock and Solo and Jimmy who are banned from ringside. But they could go with the possibility of debuting another member of their extended family, because there's plenty other members of their family who could very well come out of nowhere and get involved in this match. It has long been rumored. One of the members of their family goes by the name of Jacob Fatu, and he has been working in MLW for a while. That's Major League Wrestling, in case you haven't heard of that promotion. I think they're based down in Texas for the most part. But yeah, Jacob Fatu's been a big deal in that company for a while. He's a member of the family. And there's also at least one or two other members of the family who have teamed up with Jacob down in MLW, who could also very well come and help Roman out. And then there's also, I think he goes by Zilla Fatu, is the son of Umaga, who was, I can't remember his real name, but he was one of the members of this Anoa'i family. And you have his son Zilla, who has been training in the Performance Center, I believe, even wearing the Umaga face paint, using the stupid Samoan Spike finisher. Really lame, dumb shit. He could very well come out of nowhere and interfere in the match. Whether it's Bloodline rules or not, since he's not an official member of the Bloodline, he wouldn't be banned from ringside, so they could do something silly, goofy bullshit with that. But the problem with that is that goes against the only way that this can really end. And the way that's going to be, okay, so like I said, my prediction is Roman and Rock are going to win the tag match, and that'll set up the Bloodline rules for the singles match, which we go all the way back up here, just to make sure I didn't miss anything else. Yeah. Roman and Rock for the undisputed Universal Championship. And as I said, it will more than likely be contested under the Bloodline rules. And the way that match has to end, Cody has to win. You cannot fuck him over 2 years in a row. You can't. You cannot flush all of this storyline down the toilet without pissing off a ton of people. And I'll be real honest with you. If Cody don't walk out as champion, I might stop watching the WWE again. And I'm sure they're not going to care about losing little old me, but I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels that way. I have not been watching this crap for the last 2 years, I believe, since Cody returned at, WrestleMania 38? I have not been watching for those last 2 years just to see Cody come up short or get screwed over for the second year in a row. He has to win. And I'm sick and damn tired of Roman being champion and never being around to defend the damn title. And there's a lot of ways that this can go down. As I mentioned, it'll probably end up being the Bloodline rules, sort of, rule set. No DQ, weapons, interference, all that bullshit. And this is how Cody could actually get one over on Roman real well. Roman and the Bloodline have pissed off a lot of people and made a lot of enemies over the last 2 or 3 years that they've been just running roughshod over everybody in the company. Everybody who has gotten a one-on-one match against Roman for that title has basically gotten screwed over. This includes people like Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, Jey Uso. And I'm sure there's probably more. But that list by itself, that was like 7, 8, 9 people. The Bloodline has 4 members right now. So unless they can pull Jacob Fatu out of their ass, and maybe get Zilla Fatu, and maybe get a couple other more people, which I really doubt they're going to do. If Cody brings all of these people to help him fight the Bloodline's going to be completely outnumbered, and they're going to get their shit stomped. Even with the steroided up might of The Rock, Cody cannot lose. You cannot fuck up this storyline. And if you do, you're going to piss off a lot of people. So it would be stupid to do it any other way. And as far as the possibility of Damian Priest using his Money in the Bank on this match instead of cashing in on Rollins or Drew McIntyre, I really don't see Priest being stupid enough to try and get involved during this match. If he came out during this match or even after it, he'd probably get his shit wrecked by any of the number of people who are probably going to get involved in this. It's far more likely that he cashes in on either Seth or Drew. Whoever wins that match, more than likely Drew. So, yeah. That'll be the prediction. I'm predicting Cody to win. Again, I'm not really setting the world on fire because a lot of people are kind of leaning that way. Cody winning, that is. It's time for Roman's reign to come to an end. He's had the belt for over 3 years, like 3.5 years now. It's old. His whole shtick is old. It's time to move on. And if you want Roman to have his match against The Rock, hell, you know what would actually be kind of funny? Is if Rock actually turned on Roman during the match and helped Cody win. That would be interesting, and then that would set up Rock versus Roman. Or you could do something that I think would be a lot better, and that would be Roman loses to Cody, of course, and then Roman, disgraced, goes away for a while and does some kind of soul searching where he comes back as a face. He stops being heel and he goes back to being a babyface. And Rock has basically taken control of the bloodline, and Roman wants to come back and have his match against The Rock. And then Roman can have this like redemption arc where he has to make up, he has to atone for all of his sins, so to speak. But he goes through this redemption arc and becomes a face along the way, and he's able to beat The Rock. And they can finally have their match, and then Roman can win that, and Rock can put him over. and then maybe can be like a redeemed babyface. I don't know. That would be probably the smart way to do it. But like I said, that's my prediction. Cody has to win this. You cannot screw the guy over 2 years in a row. Roman's title reign needs to come to an end. This whole bloodline thing has gone on for way too damn long, and it sucks anyways. So, yeah. That'll be my prediction for that. And that should be all of the matches on the card between both day 1 and day 2. I don't know which matches are going to be on which day. The tag match between these 4 is going to be on the first day. So Cody and Seth and Roman and Rock, well, mostly just Roman because Rock doesn't have another match. But it'll give those 3 time to rest so that Seth can defend his title against Drew, and then Cody and Roman can have their match. And Rock will be rested up so he can interfere in the match with Roman and Cody, yeah. I imagine this one will probably happen on day 1 because it's not that important. Probably. I could probably say that for a lot of these matches, but oh Lord. This one here is definitely happening on night 1 because, again, no one really cares, I don't think. It's just... They might save all the tag or all of the title matches for night 2 just because they're more important. But in any event, as I said, those are my predictions for WrestleMania. So, yeah. We will have to see Saturday and Sunday what happens. I will not be able to do any kind of a live reaction because I'm going to be working both days. I will have to read the spoiler results probably off of like nodq.com like I used to do. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe by the end of Sunday night, maybe after I get home from work and I can see everything. We'll see how right I was and how wrong I was, maybe. But, yeah. Those are my predictions. Do with them what you will. I don't really care. That's going to wrap it up for this video. Hopefully it looks a little bit better. I've found some details about making my recordings look a little bit better, and I know they've been bad for a while. But anyways, thank you all for watching. Again, this very well could be the last episode of the Wrestling Rant that I do possibly ever, or it might just be for several years again until I actually am inspired to do something. I don't know. Pro wrestling just isn't really exciting for me anymore. There's not a damn company on earth that is interesting enough for me to do this on a consistent basis. And with my work schedule, I really can't do anything other than Monday Night Raw. So I don't know what to tell you. But anyways, that's going to wrap it up here. Thank you for watching. We might be getting together to do another one of these here soon if things go well for WrestleMania. If not, I probably won't be doing any more wrestling rants for a while. But you can still watch the rest of my content. I'll still be doing other stuff. So take a look at some of that stuff if you're interested. Thank you for watching. Join us next time, if there is a next time, for the Wrestling Rant anyways. But check out our other content, please. Thank you for watching, and we will be seeing you later. But thank you all, and good night.